Citizencon 2016. Those of you who've backed Star Citizen, as well as I, have been looking forward to this. Whenever RSI does a presentation, they do it big. You remember that video I made a few weeks ago, maybe over a month ago now, about the Gamescom event that got me to get into Star Citizen? Well, let me tell you that this presentation blows that thing out of orbit. What we're looking at here isn't a pre-rendered clip. No, instead, this is actual in-game footage that was done live at Citizencon during the presentation. Is your jaw on the floor yet? So this video is not an all-encompassing summary of all the things they talked about in Citizencon. No, instead, this is a video highlighting all the things that I found to be most interesting from this year's Citizencon. So of course, it includes all the juicy visuals. Yes, juicy visuals. So secure those G-suits and strap yourselves in, guys. Let's get started. So what we're looking at here is the variant of the Constellation class called the Aquila. It will accompany a number of other ships such as the RSI Ursa rover, Drake Dragonfly, and Drake Caterpillar when 3.0 rolls out with planetary landings. But that's not the only thing. We're going to get trading, cargo transportation, bounty hunting, mercenary and pirates and smuggling, all in that same update. What this really means is that the universe that we're looking to see out of Star Citizen is going to start to form at around this time. We're going to start to see how things work together, the sort of different playstyles that may emerge, and of course, emergent gameplay, like I had shown in my earlier Star Citizen video, the stuff that really makes playing this game so much fun. But it's also amazing to see how all this stuff actually works together in the real game. To see a ship fly down onto the surface with a rover in its cargo hold, land, and then deposit that rover onto the ground. You can imagine playing this game with your friends and doing missions together and a full crew. The fact is, though, that this sort of thing isn't necessarily new to the gaming industry. There are games that allow you to do multi-crew ships, but I would argue that this is easily the most immersive of the lot. A fact made even more powerful just by the fidelity and the attention to detail of the developers. I mean, look at this planet. Tell me that if you weren't playing this game, you would be completely enveloped in this universe. I think that's what's really great about the fact that they're putting so much time into the lore of it, to give every place a real lived-in feel, that it has a history, something that is almost like you visited this place and it existed before you arrived. There's history here, there's a people here, there's a story that you haven't yet discovered. Now, this sort of idea is ambitious, and they have by no means said that each and every planet will have its own story and background, but they have said as much as they want to try to do that. Their Lore Maker's Guide to the Galaxy series on their website has demonstrated that they are very interested in looking at every system individually and basically finding a way to fit it into the entire story as a whole. This particular planet they had shown definitely draws its influence from the Dune book series. If you've read that, you'll see what I'm talking about in the coming moments. I mean, a bunch of people wearing things that look like still suits, and it's a desert planet, and oh, I won't ruin it, but the end bit of this video is definitely straight out of Dune. But anyway, just in this demo, they've been able to sort of give you that feeling that I said earlier that I've been seeking in an MMO, that it feels like it's lived in, it feels like it has a story, and I hope that they continue this on to other planets. I understand that it's unrealistic for them to do this for every single planet, as there will be quite a few, but as long as there are a number of them in between, it'll definitely help out when you're playing the game to sort of form your own storyline around it. For us, the Armco organization that we put together over on the XP Gamers Discord, that's basically based around the first Vanduul attack, which is a pretty cool little history write-up I did. You could go check that out on our organization page. But what it's really doing is giving us the tools to create our own place in the universe that they've started for us. We're going to fill it out. We're going to become the living part of it. That ambush they went through in the demo could be real players instead of AI, because you could go and find a distressed beacon and camp it out and wait for an unsuspecting player to come around and then steal all their stuff. That's something that you could actually do, and that's emergent gameplay. Then you become an outlaw and you get hunted by a bounty hunter who's also a real player, and they're gonna try to find you. Once you've jacked all that guy's stuff, then you can sell it to a smuggler who lands on the planet. He'll take that actual real cargo off of your hands and take it into space and sell it at some space station to a bunch of squeaky clean people who had no idea that all that stuff was jacked. Now, I'm getting a little ahead of myself and hyping this, most likely, and it's hard not to hype it, especially after seeing all this, so we have to get back down onto the real and say that none of this stuff has actually been shown in the current version of the game. We don't actually have professions yet, so I will reserve my judgment for when that comes around. All I can do is be excited about the prospect of them doing this. Now, I have to say, if all they release is this planet and the ships that they're talking about with the new functions of the game in 3.0, I will be happy for a while. And they'll already have done much more than any other game had done in the genre. At least on this scale, with this level of graphic fidelity, this level of immersion. I mean, all of these things are obviously disputable. There are certainly games in the past which were much more basic that had attempted to do the same, things like Freelancer. But you have to admit, you know, they're really pushing the technological limits of what's possible today with the CryEngine. Now, this part of the demo was really freaking cool, because not only did we get to see one massive ship that had crashed on the surface, then to be utilized by a bunch of bandits, but we also got to see a little sneak peek of what weather's going to look like on some of these planets. In this one, it's a big sandstorm. The way it's been explained is that the biomes of planets will dictate weather on these planets. So for example, on this planet of Arrakis, and I'm calling it that because it's definitely Dune, it's gonna have sandstorms because it's a sandy, really dry desert planet. But if you go to other wet planets, you're gonna get rainstorms, and all of this is an entire world-encompassing system. It's all connected, all based on a partially procedurally generated engine, which comes from the way the biomes are placed on the planet. I mean, obviously, as a normal player, it may not necessarily be that important, but from my standpoint, as somebody who really loves space, it's an incredible technical achievement. Also announced in this presentation was the 3.1 update, which is following obviously right after 3.0. It's going to include mining, as well as a few other new professions and ships, as well as an additional system to jump back and forth between. That's a lot to come out right after a really big update, and it makes me really excited to see what that's going to add to the game. But they didn't stop there. They also went on to 3.2, which is going to be repair and salvage, and yes, more systems and more ships, which are going to become available in the game. Again, this is coming after December, so quite a bit a ways in the future now, and they're talking about now doing several month intervals between release dates. But wow, that's really dang cool to see this coming out all so quickly. But wait, there's more? 3.3 farming? More stuff? Wow. I mean, they really packed a lot of stuff into this presentation, and guess what? There's even more. Yes, 4.0, and it looks like we're gonna see jump points, meaning we can travel between multiple star systems, and we're gonna have exploration and discovery, science and research, and a bunch of new ships. Guys, we're in for a treat this coming year of Star Citizen. Obviously, some of you may feel that we should have gotten it by now, but these sorts of games, especially of this quality, is going to take a while to develop, and I'm willing to wait so long as the finished product is worth the wait. And from what we've seen so far, it seems like it's going to be that way. I mean, I'll reserve... You guys make your own judgment from this. You can make your own opinion. I'm just sharing mine here. I think it looks damned cool. Now, unfortunately, the entire event wasn't all hunky-dory. Through this entire presentation, and even after what followed, the only thing that I was thinking is, wait, where did the Star Marine demo go? Weren't we supposed to see something about 2.6, you know, like when that's going to be released? I mean, this shiny sandstorm and crash ship and bunch of bandits was pretty damn distracting, but I really wanted to see that. I wanted to do this video with that as my background and not this video. I wanted to have something new and physical to get my hands on and talk about. But I suppose we'll just have to do with this for now, and it is pretty darn cool. So there's that. Anyway, what this means is that for new backers who are enticed by this presentation, they're going to get into a game that's still kind of empty, unfortunately. There is a lot of fun still to be had. I spent more time in Star Citizen 2.5 than I did on No Man's Sky. I guess that's not saying a whole lot, but I mean, that was $60 and I spent, well, you could spend 45. I spent a bit more than that because I wanted a big ship. Point is, it's not a bad price proposition, but I would say this much. Do not buy it if you have doubts. I think that there are plenty of people now backing it to fund it to reach all of its goals at this point. So if you want to sit back and wait to see how it all pans out, that is the sort of position that I would support. I think that there are far too many early access games out there today that make huge promises and don't deliver. Even though Star Citizen is a huge name, and at this point everybody is saying it's just too big to fail, it could still fail, and people need to accept that as a reality. Just because someone promises something and has lots of money does not mean that they're going to do what they say they're going to do. I know I'm casting a bit of shade at the end part of this video, but someone needs to say it. Someone needs to not stop the hype train, but just, tell someone to put their hands on that brake lever just in case they need to pull it. But let's end on a better note. Star Marine was talked about in Citizencon, even though they didn't show any demo footage. It does look to be pretty darn cool, and we know it's going to be dropping sometime in the next few weeks, especially because they kind of accidentally alluded to it. Well, at least one of the other devs did. He was saying something about how he's wanting to integrate a certain feature within the next 3 weeks, and they wouldn't do that by itself. They would most likely package it with the next update, so we're probably not looking at this week. I would guess probably the following or the week even after that at the latest. Though, don't hold me to this. I have no sources to guarantee that this is in fact true. It could come out tomorrow. But when it does come out, it may be a time for those of you who haven't backed yet to maybe want to check it out if you like first-person shooters. They're definitely going for more realistic feeling, so if you're one of those people who likes Arma 3, a more realistic shooter, this may be for you. Of course, I would say still reserve your expectations until perhaps you see somebody actually play it, and then you can make a purchase decision. But I think it could be really darn cool, and I'll definitely be posting videos on that in the future to show what it's like. And I'm really excited for it because they have talked up a big game about how much work they've put into it. Things like where your gun is what you see in the real world, and where your body is, that's actually what your body's doing for other players. So being aware of all that at once is really important. Obviously this bit was scripted. I mean, there's no way that thing would have popped up randomly there. And I don't know how this is going to work in the game. I mean, I hope that we're going to encounter wildlife like this. I honestly, they've not talked much about it, but it would be kind of cool to accidentally get your ship swallowed up by one of these things. Clearly scripted, but damn, that would be really fun to see. Anyway, guys, these are all the highlights I thought were pretty darn cool. I think this video was definitely the best bit, and if you want to see the entire thing, again, go check it out in the description of this video. There you will also find a link to our Discord community, which is where we play Star Citizen together. We also have an organization which you can check out. I encourage you to go check that out and join if you like, if you don't have one already. It's going to be a lot of fun. Be sure you read up on the lore as well before you join so you understand that, we're not a pirate faction, what have you. And if you liked me or if you liked the video, of course, you know what to do. And I'll see you guys next time.